All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us on the program, this is still the press coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN Television. Now we've been joined by Azeez Adesokan. He's a journalist, and together we shall be taking a look at some of the headlines I read out to you earlier. And this is now to remind us that our phone lines are now open for you to call and join the conversation. Good morning, Azeez. Thank you so much for joining me on the program.
Good morning, Sandra. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Democracy forever.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah. All right, now you just made mention of democracy. Now let's talk of season polls. Yeah. We're just 2 days away from that. And I'll take this headline according to the Punch. Electronic collation illegal, says INEC. It also says INEC says IREV not for result collation. Labour leaders advised against intimidating voters. So now taking into consideration how the last election went, there were some here and there after the elections as to the use of IREV and all of that. So my point is, I think we are not really understanding the concept of this electronic voting, electronic transmission of results. Because what exactly now is the use of IREV, if not, okay, aside verification, what else?
I think INEC is now coming to terms of reality within Nigerian context. And we have not grown to that stage. It's a beautiful concept when we have IREV, electronic transmission of results, collation of results. It's a digital world now, but we need to be very realistic. And I'm talking about some certain states without diminishing status of some certain states. We know how epileptic some of this network could be. Certain network like Adesokan network, Sandra network, they are not that visible in some states and in some local government. And how do you achieve collation of results, transmission of results electronically? And you saw, I mean, that was the crux of the matter when we had a presidential election. Then in 2023, a presidential election produced Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president. So INEC is trying to stay off crisis. That we should not be expecting collation of results, transmission of results via IREV or via electronic device that is not going to be tenable. So I think it's a good way to start. I mean, it has been well spelled out now because INEC had a mistake in the last election because they were accused of not actually playing according to their own rules of engagement. But as it is now, they came out to spell out what the rules of engagement in these off-cycle elections could be. And from the NLC telling us that we should not be intimidating voters. It's a good one from NLC because Kogi State is notorious for such actions. You remember the last election in Kogi 4 years ago? So people were actually killed. Broad daylight. I mean, elections should not be a window platform of taking lives of citizens. It's a referendum of actually renewing a mandate of a ruling party or another party candidate coming in as a fresh governor. And that is essence of democracy. People have diverse opinion, diverse choices. I can cast my vote for Labour Party, can go for PDP, can go for APC. So democracy definition has been defeated when you don't have options. Democracy is not limited. It's about options. So I believe on that note, NLC is getting it right. Telling Nigerian government they should speak neutrality, particularly the police. They should be neutral, and the army, they should be neutral. Because so that we can have, we will not be having mediocres. So when we see emergence of our public office holders, is always wrong. When somebody pay their ways into office of a governor, of a minister, of a councillor, they will not be accountable to the people. They will not perform. Supposedly you pay, that means it was a business from the primaries. I won't be accountable because I spent my fortune. But in the moment the police ensure free and fair, the police ensure that whoever emerges is the will of the people. We don't have any problem in terms of deliverables, and democracy will thrive. Okay,
you also made mention of people being able to vote for who they really want.
Yes.
Yesterday, our guest on the program made mention of the rule of incumbent.
Yes.
And he also, because you also mentioned Kogi State, and that was he paid attention to Kogi State and said that he is expecting that the incumbents in Kogi State should have some kind of hand in what's going to happen in Kogi State, because we're talking about violence in Kogi State, and he said he's not expecting so much from Kogi State,
of course,
at this time.
The state has not been encouraging. The news from Kogi has not been encouraging. Unfortunately, they are gateway to Abuja. And do you want to talk about kidnapping in Okene Azeez? Do you want to talk about kidnapping, armed robbery of high rates? And in terms
but he is saying that he's not expecting any kind of violence in Kogi State during these elections.
Yes, we should say so, but we don't know what will happen. But from the records of elections in that state, records have shown to us that that place is actually vulnerable and prone to violence. We saw what happened. The trend is now going on. The Imo election, you saw the Imo election, the Bayelsa. You see, the moment you have agitation for power at all costs, there will be violence. That's the truth. And you can see the dimension has changed in Kogi Central. The PDP now have incumbent senator in Kogi Central, Senator Natasha Akpoti Ogwadoaga, from Okene, the same place, from the same local government, from the gubernatorial candidate of the APC and the incumbent government, governor too. So we should expect kind of upsets. And I believe the ruling party at the state level will want to actually continue. And the SDP candidate from Igala land, Kogi East. And if you look at Igala land, from Dekina to Olamaboro to Ankpa to all those local governments in Kogi East, they constitute 50% of the voting population in Kogi State. And while the Okun land, the Kogi West, where Dino Melaye comes from, and where Okene, Kogi Central, they constitute 50%. I will look at the candidate coming from Kogi Igala land, Kogi East, Yakubu. He's from SDP, representing SDP at the poll. But you want to talk about the platform, because you don't need a weak platform to win an election in this country.
But would you say SDP is that weak in Kogi State?
Of course. The PDP and the APC are the dominant party. Either you like Dino Melaye or not.
But SDP is coming as a third force.
Yes, third force. You can see the underlying third force. Third force is probability. The battle is between the PDP and the APC. Unfortunately, Dino Melaye will be battling at home with ADC governorship candidate. And incumbent rep, Larry Abejide, is representing ADC. And if he's well equipped financially, he might be given Dino Melaye a lot of headache.
Do you know why I asked that? Because yesterday our guest said that he feels that this is between the APC and SDP.
No, he's just trying to limit his perception.
So you think Dino Melaye is that strong in Kogi State?
Of course. You see, sometimes you need combination of platform and candidature. And sometimes you can have a weak candidate, then you have a better platform. It's always better to have a strong platform than have a weak candidate. If you have a strong candidate and a weak platform, it's always a problem.
Okay.
So, but PDP is a strong platform. APC is a strong platform. SDP is just coming up on board. And if you underline third force, so it's not going to be an easy ride for Yakubu. And Yakubu is not a strong candidature. That is the truth. But it's between Dino Melaye of PDP and Ododo of APC because of the platform. That is the truth. And you see, an average voters in Kogi are actually very used to either PDP or APC in the last 12 years. Particularly what happened between Natasha and the APC senatorial candidates. Natasha eventually won, according to the courts. The tribunal and the appellate court upheld the judgment of the tribunal that Natasha was a duly elected senator. That speaks volume. That PDP was actually voted for in the last presidential election in Kogi State. So if you now sum it up, we are talking about precedents now, political precedents. If you sum it up, you want to give it to Dino Melaye and Ododo of APC. Yakubu is coming from major tribe in Kogi State, the Igala land. Like I said earlier on, they constitute 50% of the voting population. But the platform on which their son is contested is weak, because the PDP and the APC, they will move in mass. Because Kogi East is the source for votes. They will move in mass to that. I would like say, well, I wouldn't know. I don't want to be alleging. You know what is happening now? Vote buying. The Boko Sebe in Yoruba Palace. That vote and go and cook at home. And if you look at the economic situation on ground, so people now might not have their psyche at their disposal, because they will just say, well, let me just collect this money and vote. Somebody that is battling to buy tomatoes, battling to buy rice, price of commodities, and somebody is offering 20,000 to just cast your vote, the people will be willing to just sell off. That is the truth. That's the reality, the sad reality in Nigerian politics now. Within Nigerian context, people sell their votes. That's the truth. In fact, with all sense of humility, I think the last election, Labour Party can say not to have actually bought any vote whatsoever. So the reason I'm telling some of our people that Nigerian democracy is evolving. It's evolving. We need to be responsible. In the next election...
You really think it is?
Yes, it's evolving. If you look at what has happened in the past, in 2003, in 2007, 2011, we were in the same country that Mike Tyson was said to have voted in Ondo State. Olusegun Wiko versus Agagu. In 2007, the same thing applied in Edo State. Osumbo SAN, Professor Osumbo versus Adams Oshiomhole. AC then versus PDP. Before the appellate court in Akure thrown them out. So just for you to know that Nigerian democratic culture is evolving and we are getting there. But as for Kogi, we expect the police. It's an off-cycle election. Then the police, they have adequate manpower. The army is supporting them. The same thing Imo and Bayelsa. But as for me, I tip APC in Kogi, then I tip APC in Imo, then PDP in Bayelsa.
Okay, that was the same speculations that we got from our guests here yesterday. Because I was going to ask you, so you've talked about Kogi State. What are your opinions about what's going on in Imo State currently? Yes,
Imo, PDP will have actually stand a better chance in Imo. I mean, we have comeback of Right Honorable Emeka Yodua, but unfortunately, Senator Samuel Anyanwu is the gubernatorial candidate of the PDP in that state, and it's not a match to Senator Uzodimma. And I think Labour Party will be struggling to spring a surprise, but Uzodimma will always have his way because he has actually made some certain fences. Don't forget that he had issue with the immediate past governor of that state, Rochas Owele Okorocha, and it was seen on live television. The national chairman, Alhaji Umar Ganduje, tried to actually broker peace between Uzodimma, Senator Sita Uzunazo, and Owele Rochas Okorocha. And with that, I think, and we have Ikedo Hakim, former governor of Imo State, in the camp of APC with Okorocha, with Uzodimma. So those everywhere speak volume in that direction. PDP will be struggling. Labour Party has actually upstaged PDP in that state as the real opposition party in that state. So it's between Labour Party candidates and Senator Uzodimma. So, and I think APC will actually have their way in that state. If you go to Bayelsa, Timi Presiva is not a darling candidate of the APC at the national level, and that the critical stakeholders in Bayelsa, from former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, will not have a return of Timi Presiva. You will recollect that in 2012, Ebele Jonathan, sitting president, denied Timi Presiva the ticket of the PDP, and it was given to then Honorable Member of House of Reps, Seraki Dixon, where he defeated the candidate of Timi Alebi and the likes. So just for you to know, there is a caucus in Bayelsa PDP, and Dorodi, Senator Dorodi, His Excellency, he has played the part of a good boy in the last 4 years. He maintained and managed the critical stakeholders, the Seraki Dixon, Ebele Jonathan, Patient Jonathan Factor, Edmond Dakoro, and the likes. So they were very comfortable with Dorodi. And if you look at the way D is playing his card with the APC National, you want to agree with me that APC at national level, they are much interested in Dorodi becoming senator for the second time than even their own kinsman, Timi Presiva, who just left as Minister of State for Petroleum. So, and it has to do more about Bayelsa local politics. The Bayelsa local stakeholders are much more comfortable with incumbent Senator PDP, Senator Dorodi, over Timi Presiva. So that is the truth. So on paper, somebody can conveniently to say that Dorodi is the man to beat and is going to win the election. All
right, we're not far from that day already. Saturday is almost upon us, and we hope to see the outcome of that. But then also this headline from The Punch this morning, and this is connecting to the previous elections that we had in Nigeria. It says PDP supporters protest judgment sacking lawmakers in Plateau State. And I don't know if I should take details of that story. It says the reports that no fewer than 4 National Assembly members elected on the platform of the PDP, including the Senate Minority Leader Simon Matkwan had been sacked by the appeal court on the grounds that PDP had no valid structure in the state. Aside him, or apart from him, the senator representing Plateau South, Musa Aga, Napoleon Bali, and Dachung Bagos were also sacked, the 4 of them. And now, taking into consideration the reason, how do you react to that?
Yeah, it's a beautiful one coming from the courts, and that is not a new thing. And we
because my question is, the courts did not realize that, or INEC did not realize that PDP had no structure. The election went on. Then after the election,
it's not a duty of INEC to disqualify a candidate submitted by the party. It's not a duty of INEC. INEC does not have the power to disqualify a candidate. The party
has no structure, but they won. Then how did they do that?
It's not about structure. It's not about winning an election.
Okay.
It's about duly nominated candidate for the party.
Okay.
It happened in the case of Nelson, Rotimi Amechi versus Celestine Omeya. In 2007, Rotimi Amechi was the duly elected candidate of the PDP in the gubernatorial election. Unfortunately, the then President Olusegun Obasanjo said that loud and clear at the Paracon Stadium that this one get K-leg. He now changed over the name of Rotimi Amechi because Amechi did not support third-term agenda as the speaker and conference of speakers. So Rotimi Amechi's name was substituted for his cousin Celestine Omeya. He went to court and challenged the eligibility of Omeya at the Supreme Court before it was actually sent packing. So Rotimi Amechi was the duly elected candidate of the PDP. If you now fast forward, go to Zamfara State. In last 4 years, the APC, they lost the entire state, the entire National Assembly members, the entire National Assembly members, and the governorship election that APC candidate was not duly elected. The internal democracy in APC at that time was not because it was they were taken to court by Senator Kabiru Marafa. So that was how Matawale, who was distant second in the election, became governor of Zamfara State. So whoever protesting in Plateau State, they are just exhibiting ignorance of law. That is it. No matter if they protest between now and next 4 years, nothing will happen to the review of the judgment. What the court has actually pronounced was that the PDP structure at the state level, they are not authentic party ESCOs that nominated their candidates. That was the bone of contention. Not that maybe they didn't win the election or not.
My question is, why did it have to get to this? Whose role was it to checkmate all of this?
It's part of our developing concept in our democracy that all these are pre-election matters that ought to have been settled before the eventual election. You recall that some of us are proposing to National Assembly that elections should be holding 1 year before tenure of office, so that all these tribunal cases, the incumbent will not be enjoying privileges. Like we have Mr. President sitting on that seat already at the villa, and Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi taking him to court. And either we like it or not, there will be certain unquote imaginary preferences, either we like it or not. So for we to have sanitized democracy, a year to tenure elapse, you must actually conduct election, then the tribunal within 6 months everything concludes.
Is it done like that somewhere else? Or
of course all election matters must have been concluded before I'm being sworn in as a governor or as a senator. Will not be having this back and forth like this senator sacked and House of Rep members sacked. Some of them have collected their jeeps. The millions. I don't have the exact figure. I don't want to misquote. The millions of naira jeep given to House of Rep members and senators, they've collected. Are they going to refund it back? So on whose expense would that come again?
Is that not supposed to be the right thing to do?
The right thing, but you know the Nigerian factor. They want to go away with it. They might even declare the car missing. The car will just disappear. So the board of whoever protested in Plateau State, they are just exhibiting ignorance of law. It applied in Rotimi Amechi versus PDP versus Omeya. It applied in the case of Kabiru Marafa and APC in Zamfara State, and the entire state House of Assembly, and Metamawale himself was actually sworn in as governor without being the winner of the election. The same that applied in Bayelsa State. Dorodi was not the winner of the election. But the deputy government candidate of the APC, to David Lyon, was said to have forged his certificate, and it was well proven before the court.
All right,
so, and he was disqualified.
Hello, good morning, Elder Zion.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Please go ahead and make...
Elder Zion is my name.
Good morning, Elder Zion.
Thank you. I thank you all. I thank my brother there.
Good morning, sir.
Who is doing a good work. You see, about what happened to us here in Plateau State, I want to journalists to explain more, because we are seeing some contradictions in the judgment of the appeal court in Abuja. Was it not the same executive that produced National Assembly members? Were they not the same people that produced state legislators? What happened to National did not happen to the state? That's number one. Number two, please, try to educate us more. There was a judgment, presidential judgment about Shetima's case. The judges said nobody has any right to interfere in other political parties' problems. That is why Shetima was not removed. That is why Tinubu is president. And what I'm asking, why can't that yardstick or criteria used by the appeal court that determined that case and the later Supreme Court, why can't be used to determine that was the case?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elder Zion.
Yeah, Elder Zion is actually making a very valid opinion there. But sometimes in law, what you have actually raised will now cause for judicial review of judgments, and that will be done at the level of Judicial Council, body of benchers, when they're having their symposium or conferences, that they review judgments and reconcile. But all I'm very sure is either from the courts that maybe an appellate court or Supreme Court had ruled otherwise in the same matter. It depends on the merit of the cases before them. That is the truth. But it is discretion of the courts or the judge himself or herself to actually base his or her own condition for actually deciding a particular matter before him or her in this way. So it could differ. Sandra is not Adesokan. So whatever I give my judgment in my own court, I'll give my reasons. My reasons might not be uniform with that of Sandra because we have different courts.
But then they are judges. There should be a law. And if we are judges and working with law, we shouldn't have different opinions as to what the law says.
See, what I'm saying is, it is discretion of the courts, the judges, like bail condition. I can choose as a judge not to make your bail condition stringent, even though if it is a bailable offense. The discretion of the courts. So and once this judgment comes this way, it is still related to what I've actually opined about Rotimi Amechi versus Celestine Omeya. And the same thing in Zamfara State. So that is it. So it is law. And unfortunately, appellate court is the terminate point for decision making on election tribunal that involves National Assembly. So there won't be any hope until judicial review comes in the next 4 years. God spare our lives.
All right. With that, let me let you go, and we'll be joined again by another analyst to do some justice to some of the headlines that we have on our national dailies relating to the economy. We'll be right back shortly.